Hi, everyone. Welcome to Agribusiness Global Live. My name is Renee Targus. I'm the group editor for Agribusiness Global and your host for today's webinar, Minding the Biological Gap, where we're going to be covering how gaps in the biological products are driving R&D and how companies are working to get these products to growers. I wanted to let you know about some events happening with Agribusiness Global. We had 3 virtual events earlier this year, and the virtual events are about 3 hours long with a lot of information focusing on specific regions. You can access those, it's free. There's also PowerPoints that are included with that. You just have to sign up for it, and then they'll send you a link so you can access the recordings and PowerPoints. Also, we're having our in-person event in 2026, the Trade Summit. So if you're planning your travel for 2026, please put that on your calendar. It'll be in Las Vegas, August 5th and 6th, and it's a great place to network, do business, and get great intel on what's happening in the industry. So we hope to see you there. All right, so I am going to start introducing our panelists. We've got a great group today, and I'm going to start with Dr. Nathan Kleczewski. He's Technical Product Lead for Biologicals for Syngenta. We've got Dr. Willian Batista Silva. He's the Technical Product Development Manager for North and South Americas for Rainbow Bio. Got Dr. Sara Monteiro, Head of Global R&D Biocontrol and Adjuvants for Rovensa Next. Carlos Ledó, Founder and CEO of VEGANIC. And then Brooks Coetzee, Biologicals Business Partner for Corteva. So welcome, everyone. I'm so glad to have you here. Nathan, I'm going to start with you, and then we're going to just kind of go around the panelists. So, you know, in a concise way, how would you talk about how biological products opportunities are influencing R&D? What would you say about that?
Yeah, thanks for the question. So I'd say in short, I think overall, some of these biological deficits that we're seeing are really pushing our R&D towards a more holistic systems-based risk management model, at least here in the United States. You think about a lot of the large agricultural chemical companies, they weren't really built for biologicals. They were built for chemical pathway production and chemical product production. So they still don't necessarily have a true internal discovery engine for biologicals. So in the short term, you see you see this all the time, acquisitions, in licensing, venture capital backed startups being pulled in as a way to build portfolios. And when you have that happen, you're getting access to those technologies, but there also can be some gaps of information, some things that need to be kind of smoothed out that come to light that then need to get addressed. Another big piece is that, and I kind of mentioned this, the traditional screening and evaluation tools that we have for our traditional crop protection products weren't built for living systems like we have with biologicals, with biostimulants. Doing an herbicide screen is simple, right? I go out there, spray it. Does it kill the weed or doesn't it? Very visual, very simple. With biologicals, those effects really are nuanced, they're complex, and they require different methods to really separate the real effects from that noise. So what you see is a lot of the R&D now investing more in some new technologies, new methodologies to get at some of these challenges there that we might see. The other thing that we do kind of encounter every now and then is we're having to solve some foundational issues that we really haven't had to face with chemistry. So you have complex extracts of plants in some cases. You might have living microbes. You might have combinations of these things, and it makes it difficult to characterize these and understand these. So just to get them into the market, we have to do a little more on our end to clarify the functionality and the utility of a lot of these products at the front so that we can better position them and understand them and ensure their success in the field.
Great answer. Thank you. Sara, what's your input about this?
Thank you for the invitation to have me here today. So this is a very interesting question, and I think from our point of view, we are a little bit in a different route than Syngenta, because our start, it is on biocontrol, on biological. So we see the gaps maybe in a different way that Syngenta with their chemical background see. But for us, the gaps, or the main gaps that we have today, are two. We need formulations, very strong formulations, to deliver strong efficacy in the field, and we need technical validation or technical demonstration of our products in the field. And in the end, this is where Rovensa Next is today, investing a lot, is to create very strong products to fill these gaps of lack of efficacy of this traditional view from the growers, of lack of efficacy of the current biocontrol products. And in the other hand is to create, technical demonstration and to create programs in the field to demonstrate that our products can be as efficacy as the chemical if well applied. So biocontrol products, they require a lot more technical understanding and a lot of more specialization on the applications in the field in order to deliver very good efficacy. And this is how we are operating, and we are trying to find also on the biocontrol areas. We have sometimes issue with the sources of our active ingredients, our raw materials. So we try as much as to have very secure sources and very stable sources to not have these fluctuations in terms of efficacy, in terms of the different compositions, batch to batch. So, and this is something that we try to fine tune and to just work with active ingredients that we can deliver a very stable formulation to the field. And yes, I think in the end, the gaps are formulations, strong formulations, technical demonstrations create a very technical background on our products, validations, and in the end to provide the tools for the farmers to understand well our products. And in this case, I think we can fill the gaps, or we can make the biocontrol products more, more usable, or more usable for the growers.
And that's, I think that's going to be a follow-up question I'm going to have after we get through the panel about this, about, like you said, the formulation, and can the growers use it? How do they use it? But before we get into that, Willian, how about you answer that question? What gaps are you seeing?
Okay, so first of all, again, thank you very much for the opportunity. I'm very honored to be in front of those very important personality from Syngenta, from Rovensa, like Sara. Well, for me, it's a pleasure. So my thinking, it's going around what Sara was describing. So at the Rainbow Bio, since we start as a chemical company, we just started with this new business in the bio business. We try to combine both scenarios. Yeah, in my opinion, in my understanding, the scenario where I am, or I use it to visit LATAM, Central America, Caribbean, the current shortage and gap in effective biological products are somehow connected with reproducibility, consistency, and service support. So we can have a very good product, but if you cannot position it really well, this will be a very big fail into the market. So the reproducibility, we just gonna go when you start to understand more about our formulations. When you know more, the extract final result that we're expecting in this formulation, probably we will have much more reproducibility effects and much more consistencies, because it's quite often to receive some comments about clients. They don't believe very much in biocontrol or biostimulant because they don't see consistency in the data, the results. Depends the environment and the condition. They decide just skip the biocontrol and just return to the chemical control because the reproducibility. So again, in my thinking is we need to combine, because there's a very huge gap in our formulation, go deeper in our kind of formulation, build up a specific using the genetic engineer to be sure that what we are formulating will give us the final results, not that complex mixture between different compounds that we don't know exactly how that's gonna work in the field. And since we get this kind of materials, for sure you have much more consistencies and much easier to create or develop some service support.
Yeah, the service support is a big one. I keep hearing about that all the time, and growers, just not knowing how to use the products correctly. All right, Carlos, we're going to you with this question.
Okay, thank you very much, René. It's my pleasure to be here. Thank you for the opportunity and for the invitation. So regarding the first question, I think I've been working in the biocontrol side in the last 25 years as a pure biocontrol player, and things have changed a lot since the very beginning of this new science, this new segment, until now. So I think the main gap that we are facing, all the companies that are operating in this segment, is first of all the lack of information in some active ingredients. It's not easy to find technical information regarding some soil microbials. It's a new world, the microbials in the soil, for instance. This is not easy to find the efficacy, how to implement, how to use, how to can mix this kind of new category of products. So it's also the same with the plant extracts. So this is one of the main gaps that we are facing, because this segment is quite new, so everything is should be done from the scratch almost. So this is one of the main gaps that we are facing. Also, it's also clear for me that there are some targets that are very complicated. It's not easy to solve some problems, for instance, some herbicides or some against mites, some miticides. So there are some targets that is not easy to control properly still with this new category biocontrol. So we need to continue pushing our R&D teams in order to improve this kind of tools that we are using for this big problem that the farmers are facing. So also another deficit that we are facing also is the lack of efficacy of the biocontrol products versus chemical ones. So we need to change the mindset of farmers. It's not possible to see the organic products, biological products, with the same eyes that we are evaluating a chemical products. It's nothing to do. This is other effect. This is other way of action. Has nothing to do with the chemical ones. So I think one of the main challenge that we are facing, the organic companies, biological companies, is to be able to explain properly to the farmers that the efficacy are different, how to use, how to handle this kind of process different. And it's a new segment, it's completely new, and we need to be able, with all the companies that we are operating in this segment, to explain properly this new world and to be able to change the mindset of the farmers.
I agree. I think that's one of the biggest, and it's so important too, right? I think the UN is talking about how 90% of the world's soil is not going to be usable by 2050 if we don't start to change what we're doing. So, Brooks, what's your take on all this? What are you seeing that, is kind of feeding research and development? What are areas that haven't been touched on or developed in biologicals?
Yeah. So first of all, thank you for having me on this panel. It's a really exciting time for agriculture, and I'm thrilled to share Corteva's perspective on biologicals, which is one of the most transformative areas in crop protection today. One thing is sure, I don't look at these gaps as gaps. I more look at them as opportunities and how we can kind of direct our R&D efforts towards them. Starting off with the fact that whether it's a problem for conventional crop protection, agronomy, etc., it's a problem that farmers face worldwide, and biologicals is part of a system to address that. The other fact is agriculture is under immense pressure. The status quo is simply not going to be enough to do what we need to do in the future. And I'm convinced, and it's part of the philosophy that's reflected in how we develop products, is that productivity, yield, and quality is part of an equation. And that equation includes genetics, it needs our production systems and our production practices, and it has the environment. And biologicals is underutilized as solution levers in this to improve these levers. And it's one of the few out there that you can actually use in parallel to pull on all of those to improve your productivity overall. Another big part is, and the panel has alluded to all of the nitty-gritties of this, but from a philosophical point, Corteva sees biologicals not as add-ons. They're central to our innovation strategy. And there's two reasons for it. It's an untapped, very novel area of exploration that we can go into as a R&D company. And the other part to it is that, yeah, it makes sense. It makes dollars and cents sense that it's the fastest growing market segment. By 2035, they reckon that it's about 25% of the market will be biologicals. And putting our money where our mouths are, we invested more than $1.5 billion in acquisitions. Through Catalyst, our platform, we connect with startups, and we're driving breakthroughs along all of those different, addressing these challenges that the panel has brought up. Now, we philosophically, you establish these strategic collaborations to solve a very specific problem. In the public domain, there's our recent collaborations with Microbials, LATAM, et cetera, where we focus on peptide and protein-driven active ingredients, which up to now wasn't that easy for biologicals. And then we use our cutting-edge expertise in discovery, formulation science, regulatory compliance, field validation, et cetera, to take that to the customer with proven efficacy and then the consistency of performance that everybody alludes to. So our really, from a philosophical standpoint, it's all about solving that and supporting that sustainable productivity for farmers globally, focusing on biocontrol, plant health, biostimulants, plant performance, formulations, advanced formulations. We're getting into an era where you see formulations never seen before to bring these products to the market. And then AI-driven discovery and gene editing, that's another way of addressing these gaps that you can move to the field faster and more predictably. So simply put, as farmers need solutions and the world needs food systems that endure, and biologicals brings that, and that's opportunity, not a gap.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good way to look at it too. All right, we're going to go to the next question. And this, you guys all kind of touched on this a little bit. You know, we're talking about some of the barriers, you know, Brooks, is like you were talking about, you know, getting these products to the growers. Nathan, could you talk about maybe what are some of the barriers getting products, you know, besides, you know, registration, regulations, what are some of the barriers you're seeing in getting these products to growers?
Yeah, well, I guess in short, like you said, the barriers aren't just regulatory, but I see more of a structural, cultural, logistical barriers that are really kind of interacting together to kind of minimize how we're getting these out, or not minimize, but affect how we're getting products out. So in the United States, again, I'm just speaking from our specific systems here, but we're used to these products that have been developed through these traditional chemical development systems built for synthetics. And so you're looking at very clean dose response curves, data sets, broad environmental performance. And a lot of the other panelists have alluded to this as well, that biologicals, they don't behave like that. They're very context specific. You might have a product that performs just incredibly well during drought stress, but it shows very little effect in cool, wet conditions. And that's not product failure, that's just biology. But our systems really aren't built to handle that nuance. So in the United States, we kind of have that mindset that's also very chemical focused from the growers as well. With biologicals, we have to change. There's a frame shift in that mindset that needs to happen. There's new education and trainings that need to be done across indications, from customers all the way up the line, all the way up into the companies as well. We're talking more understanding of you hear these terminologies: the microbiome, the phytobiome, soils, plant physiology, all of those things. But we got to do that in a clean, digestible way that really increases customer understanding without adding additional confusion or unneeded complexity, because these are very useful technologies. They're needed technologies that need to be out there, but we don't want to scare people away because we've made them unnecessarily complex. in terms of manufacturing formulations, those are key. Quality control, those are all points, and this has been brought up in some of the other panelists' answers from the previous question, that they can create some potential log jams or some potential friction as well. We're talking about complex technologies, peptides, plant extracts, maybe living microbes that might have to be handled in a very specific fashion. They might have higher batch-to-batch variability than what we're used to. They might have shorter shelf lives unless we do something to optimize these formulations, and our traditional supply chains weren't necessarily built for this. So we're looking at, how do we tighten those QC windows? How do we minimize those conditions that could impact the performance? How do we optimize those formulations so that we can really deliver strong products that the growers can get better consistency from, that they can trust that product will deliver what it says it's going to deliver. And that's what Dr. Batista said in his earlier answer. Consistency is a big question that customers have. And we increase our consistency when we have high quality formulations. And then, finally, the one point I see is that growers really, we need to give them better guidance, better understanding. I alluded to training earlier, but the performance of these products are so dependent on the conditions and context. It's really important to have that positioning dialed in to ensure that you're having honest conversations with expectation management, and that we're generating a lot of local robust data sets that can really enhance that that wow factor or that value that the customer will have in specific regions and segments.
Yeah, exactly. Right on. That those are all a lot of the points that, we're hearing, especially the education part. And I think we talked to some ag retailers in the US, and they're like, some companies do it that well and some don't do it at all. And so that is a huge barrier. Sara, what's your take on this?
Well, Renee, first, let me talk a little bit about the regulatory, because we are putting away the regulatory at this stage, but I don't truly think that regulatory is a barrier. Regulatory, it's also an opportunity for us, because it's very important. And again, if we compare the chemicals with the biologicals, having also this regulatory push in the case of the biological also makes that our products on the biocontrol are also very trustable, because we need to go through the screen, a similar screen than the chemical. So in the end, of course, that will delay the launch of our products into the market. But when we do, we know, and the growers know, that the product has been validated in terms of safety, in terms of the toxicology, in terms of efficacy. So I think regulatory, yes, usually it's a pain, but can also be seen as an opportunity as soon as we reach the target. This is my opinion and our opinion. I think regulatory is opportunity for us. But for us, the biggest barriers that we can see are two. One is the stability and the different types of active ingredients and formulations, and that the growers want to mix and to use their normal programs. And sometimes there is a lack of compatibility. Sometimes they cannot use the microbes, for example. They cannot mix everything that they are used to do with the biological, for example. And this is something that we need to teach them. So we need to deliver more information, more technical information, not only on the technical, on the active ingredients, but also on the formulations. We need to create compatibility tables. We need to teach them, you need to put the biologicals, for example, just in the end of the tank mix, and when we have all the other products diluted. So the approach of using a biocontrol in the field needs to be much more technical, not only on the active, but also how the grower needs to include this type of products in their normal programs. And we should never create a product or develop a product that in the end needs to have a very specific route of application, because that will not create an adoption. That will create, the growers will not like, that will create a burden on their normal program. We cannot ask them just do a simple application with our biocontrol solution, because this will increase the costs and will not be feasible for them. So we, as R&D team operating in the biocontrol, we need to make products that at least as similar to the conventional that they are used to. And this will break some of the barriers. If they can use the products as they are used to use with the chemical products, the normal, the conventional, I am sure that the adoption will be much higher. And sometimes this is a problem that the biocontrol products have. And again, this makes me coming back to the formulations development. So yes, we are seeing a lot of new development of formulations because it's needed, because we need to create this, this compatibility in the programs in the field, but also we need to protect the activity and efficacy of these new active ingredients. So we need to make products simple, but also protect it, because in the end, we should not allow that the active ingredients will lose efficacy once they are mixed with other chemistries.
Great point. That's a really, really good point. Yeah. I'm going to keep going just for time. Willian, what's your take on this?
Yes, I think our colleagues just touched very important talks here. So I don't want to repeat everything. I'd like to move a little bit more, saying that the biocontrol sectors is just crossing a very critical juncture where many companies must choose three important components: cost, differentiation, and focus. I can give example. In Brazil, we have more than 700 companies in this kind of business, and only 20 companies is focused on innovation in R&D. It's a really very low number in comparison with the huge opportunity that we have. So the cost and differentiation and focus is very important because it's part of the new era of the biocontrol. Every company has want to have a biocontrol or bioproducts. That expression we call here, me too. I have a certain strengths, me too. So everybody want to have the same kind of product that makes the market just make very narrow how to say it is the margins, because the main reason why companies move to the bio is looking for the margins that these products can deliver to distributor, to themselves, and then the farmer can have a opportunity, a different products to use, less toxicity. So this Me Too behavior, or this jump into this wagon, makes the margin reduce a lot. So it means it's a commoditization in the market, right? So for example, in recent years, Latin America has seen a notable increase in offer registration. Sara was just explained, because it's very easy to register when we compare with the chemical market. So the biological product registered was increasing, aiming to enhance agriculture practice. Everybody was very happy about it. However, the on-farmer adoption of this bioproduct has not kept pace with their availabilities. Now we are increasing many on-farms product. The growth on-farm biofactors in Latin America intended to overcome these logistical challenges, because the formulation sometimes is not good enough to survive. We are still relying on a live microorganism. In my opinion, we need to go deeper on that. We need to, I think the new generation of the bio must use more metabolite instead of a live microorganism, because this logistical challenge, it has improved access, but also raises the concern about the sanitary control. We don't have a fully control on farmer production, technical expertise, so they don't know very well, deep as a company like Rainbow Bio, Rovensa, Corteva, many other company has much more experience to make this formulation. They're just doing by themselves. Mitigate and, let's say, finish these gaps, especially about cost, reduce the investment on this kind, and keeping competitive in the market. So I can see several barriers that can contribute in this bio business. The first one is knowledge gap, already explained by our colleagues. Practical usability, consistency. I repeat this consistency. When you get more consistency, you get more trust from the farmer sides, logistical challenge, and for sure, the regulatory and market limitations. That can be my 5 important barriers.
Great, thank you. It's interesting to hear from Nathan, Sara, and Willian, your different perspectives on what's happening. But it's interesting, it's Europe, it's the US, it's Brazil. All these are great places where people are using biologicals, but there's still infrastructure gaps. There's how to use the product gaps. There's a lot of that still happening. Carlos, I know you're in Spain. What's your take on all that?
I fully agree with my colleagues, with the comments of my colleagues. Just to add also something different, and I think one of the main barriers that we are facing is the different approach in the market with this kind of products. I think they have a different go-to-market comparing to the chemical ones. So these are more, as my colleague mentioned before, are premium products. So we need to have a more technical approach in the farmer. We need to be able to explain properly to the distributor the way of action, how to handle this kind of products. It's not so easy to, it's not only to leave the product in the distributor and that's enough. We need to promote, to explain properly at farmer level how to use, how to mix this kind of products. And this is a different mindset, a different go-to-market comparing to the conventional or chemical ones. I think another barrier that we are facing is the lack of talent. It's not easy to find talent with knowledge and expertise and handling this kind of products. Each company has their own formulas and different products, different technologies. So it's not easy to find someone with expertise needed to enable farmers to produce residue-free productions with this kind of products, because each company has their own products. So you need to have to teach your people with this kind of technologies. So it's not easy to find the talent. And this is a big barrier on my end to boom this market, this segment. And also, I think the last one, the last barrier that I think that is happening in this sector is the high dosages of some products. It's nothing to do with the doses in this segment are higher than the chemical ones. So sometimes higher doses, lack of efficacy in some terms, the different efficacies depending on the pH, depending on the sunlight. So this is not so easy to have success using these products if you don't have the technical approach and the right knowledge to use. So it's not so easy to use, and we have this efficacy depending on other factors that are not always taken in account at farmer level.
Thank you. And those are all really good points. And Brooks, I know we're getting last you. So some of the barriers that you're seeing, maybe you've heard, some of them mentioned, if you've got anything different or if you just agree with them, what are you seeing?
No, there is a lot of the barriers that we see is similar. We might just have a slightly different approach and how to solve for them and how to approach them. And maybe I'll concentrate a little bit more on that, Renee. So first off is we can't deny that the potential of biologicals is enormous. But I told you guys I'm like equations. I'm an equation guy. So if you think about it, it all comes down to trust, education, and seamless integration. If we hit those and we hit those three concurrently, you're probably going to make the best inroads with biologicals. So first off, the perception of trust is, and that's farmers want proof and not just promises, and that is understandable. Biologicals have been facing skepticism around efficacy and consistency for eons now. There was a lot of unscrupulous players in this space, and they're still there, but that's one of the big pieces is that perception and trust. So to overcome that, you need transparent data, you'll need robust field trials, you'll need third-party validation of that proven efficacy in real life agricultural conditions. And then don't throw away that consistency piece. It will come back every time. And the second one has been touched on, and is the knowledge and education piece. It starts with that biologicals in a lot of cases is a holistic approach, and it's not just the sales pitch. So you have to know what you want to achieve with the biological, which goes beyond that sales pitch that everybody was used to. And it's equally important, and this is a part that we kind of skip over a lot of times, is we go to the agronomist and we go to the grower, but those providers of third-party opinions, consultants, investigators, they also need an education on how to work with live microbial products in small plot trials, etc., that they were so used to basing their facts on. You have a lot more variability, and then with live microbials, and here I'll break a lance for the World Biologicals Conference coming up in a couple of weeks, there's going to be some excellent talks on how difficult it is, for instance, to have something as simple as the untreated check in these small plot trials. A lot of these highly published journal articles alluded to performance and lack of performance, but they never mention or check whether or not they truly had an untreated check when they work with live microbials. Things like that we need to go. And then lastly is operational fit. You have to put your customer farmer at the center of everything you do. They're not going to overhaul their production systems or management practices to accommodate this one oddball biological product. You'll need to make sure that they have a predictable return on their investment. Compatibility is in your court. You need to have expectations of robust, reliability, and ease of adoption. So if you can pull those three levers together, that's probably as good as anybody else.
Mm-hmm. Sounds great. Thank you. Great answer. All right. So we've got about 10 minutes left for our final question. So this is going to be sort of a speed answer. And then we've got some questions from the audience that I'd like to get to. So the final question is, what is your company doing to get biocontrol and plant health solutions to growers? And maybe just give me your top two things that you're seeing, and let's just kind of go through the panel. So Nathan, let's start with you.
Yeah, so for us, I'd say one thing we're doing is we're working on demystifying the technology. And I think some of that was brought up in some of our past answers here by the panelists. Oftentimes we have biologicals that go out to the field with these very vague claims with a lot of pie in the sky type claims. We're taking a clearer approach to that. We want to explain exactly what the product is, where it fits, what it does, trust. And that's really where we're at. And we're also putting a huge focus on a lot of these high touch experiential trainings and experiences. So growers and realtors, they want to see the biologicals in their own fields and the conditions that matter to them. So we're looking at more of these larger scale demo plots, side-by-sides, guided field days than we've ever done before. A lot of these technologies might not provide really striking visuals, but hey, if you get out of your truck and you're not driving 60 miles an hour and you stop and you look and you know what to look for, you can start to see the differences and start to generate that trust and that understanding of the product. So I'd say those are our two major things that we're doing.
That's great. Great. Sara.
Yes, in our case, I think we are also, the first one is, of course, we launched very recently our biosolutionized approach. So we are trying to integrate tools for the farmers. So not only biocontrol, not only adjuvants, but like a tool with also biostimulants and biofertilizers, and to create a full program with really demonstration, we really data. Because, you know, when you use a biostimulant with proven data with a biocontrol product, we can mitigate a lot of diseases. We can reach or we can target different physiological pathways in the plant. So in this way, if we make a healthy plant, of course, the plant will be ready to combat the pests and the diseases that will affect. So we are creating this solution, like an integrated solution with all our technologies. So this is one area where we are operating. In the other side, and for the knowledge ones advocating for our products, so we are engaging with strong universities, strong growers associations, technical institutes, and with them, we are creating specific programs, crop by crop, disease by disease, where our biosolutions are being integrated, replacing some of the chemical treatments. So we don't want to replace all the chemical treatments. We want to prove and we want to generate programs with our solutions where we are replacing some of the chemical treatments in order to create programs with with a higher sustainability, meaning a low chemical impact. So we are operating in these two areas. And with this second one, in the end, we will have like we will have the engagement and the seal from these very well-known institutes and universities and growers. We believe that this is an open door to have a better adoption of our solutions. So not only us, but also having these validated tools with these technical institutes. And this is where we are mainly operating.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. All right, we've got about 3 more minutes left. So Willian, Carlos, and Brooks, I'm going to ask you to just do your top 2 really quick. We've got about 6 questions from the audience. So Willian, go ahead.
Yeah, very quickly. I think we are doing our best in a very humble way. We are creating our R&D hub, integrating university and expertise people in China and US and Europe as well, to create and rely on the genetic engineer to create exactly what we are expecting, more precise tools for the farmer. And for sure, the validation of this stuff is for sure necessary and is present in many other companies as well. We are doing the same kind of job. But the most important, this hub, where you integrate many partners in this R&D department.
Great, thank you. Carlos.
Hey, just to complement that, we are focusing now on developing new products coming from new sources, such as oceans, for instance, in order to find the new active ingredient, something different in this way. Also, we are focusing on using artificial intelligence to develop more formulas and to improve our current ones.
Brooks.
So our approach is pretty simple. We start with the farmer and his success and then work backwards. We partner very closely with those growers, understand their challenges, then deliver solutions that fit their systems. And we use a couple of things to do that. Integrated distribution to make sure that they have the product they need when they need it. On-farm demonstration, agronomy support. We use a lot of digital tools and AI models to predict performance and to predict use and making sure that they have success. We hammered on education and training already. And then lastly, 2 things. Our portfolios are built on proof. We rigorously and religiously test these products across millions of acres, multiple years, real world conditions to make sure that farmers can produce more sustainable and profitable.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you all for that. All right, I'm going to jump into the audience questions. We've got 9 right now posted. So I'm going to start with the first one. Nathan, I'm going to direct this one to you, and then anyone else wants to jump in, feel free. So most of the market right now consists of biofertility or biostimulants and formulations varying from single strain specific organisms to large consorptions of biologicals, extracts, and chemicals. How does biological crop protection differ, and how do we teach growers to identify high quality products?
Well, that's a very good question. I'd say the second part there, how do we teach growers to identify high quality products? I think a lot of that comes with the messaging that is out there pertaining to that particular product. We're looking at transparency, we're looking at clear claims, we're also looking at the data that are able to be generated or are available. I am very much of the opinion of, the positioning matters, and it's very important for our our growers to understand that products that are claiming extremely high efficacy, pure control if it's a biocontrol, 100% efficacy, those sorts of things, we need to dial that back and start asking some questions. So the more transparent that they are with their data, and that they are with their presentations, I think that's going to direct that grower towards higher quality, more trustworthy, higher consistency type products.
Great, thank you. All right, Sarah, I'm going to pose the next question to you. Where are initial potential products being sourced from right now? In-house research and development, collaborations with universities, or government research institutions?
Well, there is not only one answer for that. I think it's a mix of all of this. I can give you the example. In Rovensa, we have the different projects that are initiated from the field, from our sales team. They are telling us that there is a need there is a need for this target, for this market, for this particular use, and we try to find a solution that can, we try to develop a solution. There are other situations that we start a program, R&D program with the university. So we have, for example, we are more focused on the validation in the field. They are the owners of the technology. For example, they did the first steps of the validation of the technology under control conditions, and we are the ones that will pick from there. We'll develop, for example, the formulation. We go to the field and we validate the targets, the mode of action, all of that. It's a collaboration. And finally, sometimes we are operating into big consortiums that each of the consortium will deliver a piece of the information to create this puzzle and to create a new solution. Look, today we are, and as I think William told, we need to innovate. So there is no, the grower does not need another new strain of the same, another new strain of the same species. We need different technologies, not only on the actives, but also on the delivery systems. We need to create robust technologies for the field. So, and we don't have all the knowledge. So we have a lot of engagement with other technical for some pieces of the technologies.
Great, thank you. All right, Willian, this next question is for you. He talks about how there's virulent isolate, sound production systems, robust formulations of biologicals, but they're experiencing that biologicals are constantly facing challenges to deliver full reliance to the users. So his question is, how to overcome this? Should they be considering integrating other technologies or approaches with biologicals?
Okay, well, if I understood well, the question is, for example, I have several tools in front of me, so I need to pick up some of these tools like a chemical, biological. I have several different biological products to choose. Well, I use a very important words in this conversation that I am every day listening from the farmers: cost. Everything is about the surrounding cost. The margin of the final product, the soybean, corn, whatever, sugarcane, it's very small in this moment. So everything that the farmer add on top the normal management, that means increasing cost even more. So the more clever and strategical way to create a product or select a product, we need to somehow help the farmers reduce the cost. We need to identify the better product that will somehow reduce the application of some important product, but they will not be longer necessary. For me, it's around the cost, and the selection of the product must to replace something for the farmer to reduce the cost. Why I'm telling this very quickly, I'm sorry, because you know, sometimes the farmer are expecting the same production, but the cost of the raw materials are increasing year by year. So the money that they will receive, it's even less. So how they can pay the bank? Yeah, we have a lot of problems in Brazil. I don't know how to say this in English, but when you go to the bank and say, I'm fail, I don't have money to pay. Many companies just closing because they cannot pay you. The farmer don't pay the distributor don't pay the company, and the system just getting bigger and bigger because the farmers are afraid to add another cost in their system. That is, maybe I didn't answer very well the question, but it's more related to always think to reduce the cost for the farmer.
Okay, great. Well, then thank you for your point. I'm skipping 2 questions and we're going to go back to those just so whoever put those questions in know that we're doing this. But this next question, Carlos, I have for you, and I'm because you had talked about workers, and from your industry-wide view, what skills, specializations, or training paths should new entrants bring when aiming to work in plant health companies, especially in roles focused on field evaluation or product development of biologicals?
I think that the main point to choose the right company is depending on the skills on the capability of each individual. So for me, the most important point to choose a new company and to have success in a company is, first of all, to be aligned with the values of the company. If you are disaligned with the values of the company, never you will have success there. Second is to have to work in a company with a healthy culture. It's very important for me to be in a company with a healthy culture, and this is more the most important point in order to be happy and to be satisfied with your work. And for sure, also, it's very important to find the industry, the company aligned with your vision. You need to be able to share the vision that you have in your life, in your professional life, and you need to realize if your vision matches with the vision of the company. So once these 3 points are clear and you are aligned, depending on the skills that you have, probably the technical capabilities are very important nowadays, more than maybe commercial, just a typical commercial sales guy without technical formation. So for me, be aligned in values, in culture, in vision, and then technical capabilities, and then you can choose the right company and have success for sure.
Great, thank you. Brooks, if this is not a good question for you, let me know. I'll find another one. But you talked about building trust. Is gene expression testing a viable approach to test efficacy and develop trust? What's your opinion on that?
Well, first I'm going to start, Carlos. I really like your answer. That was a good answer to a very, very deep question. Now, to whether or not gene expression is good, it's just one of many tests that you have to do. And gene expression is going to be very early in your development, understanding mode of action, etc. When you get way down the line, that's just one of many things that needs to be in place in order to have that reliable product that will give you consistency and the expected performance. And I also want to just re-emphasize what Nathan said is that as long as you don't overpromise, you're going to get to transparency. And that's probably the biggest single learning curve for everybody is if the product is going to give you 15%, then say 15%. Don't take that one outlier that says 100%. Be transparent and be real.
Great, thank you. All right, so this question, I'm not sure, does anybody know about trichoderma fungi? The regulatory challenges of trichoderma fungi and their dual action. So Sarah, you're shaking your head. Yes. Okay, go ahead.
Well, trichoderma challenge. The regulatory challenges is not the dual. Yes, there is a dual function, but it's more than that. For the USA, trichodermas today, they are being used as biocontrol agents and also as a biostimulants, as a biofertilizers. The problem is now that there are some publications, some scientific publications that were also endorsed by the Canadian and the USA in some states that saying that trichoderma can be seen also pathogenic fungi. And this is creating a problem because in some states of the US, as far as I know, they are in Canada, for biostimulant uses, they are not being allowed. They are cutting the use of trichoderma in these states because in the biocontrol now they are yet accepting because in the biocontrol, these strains needs to go through regulatory and through all the safety situations, through all the validation. But because of the biostimulant, the regulations are not as tight, so they are not approving trichoderma for biostimulants because of this pathogenicity. Well, no. Trichoderma are being used forever and ever. It's a very difficult situation because maybe they change or maybe they are getting some adaptations because of the long use. But this is becoming a very controversial situation. And also in Europe now we are seeing that this issue is raising more and more. So I don't have the answer, but this is a problem that is raising, that is appearing now.
Great, thank you. Thank you for your answer. All right, we've got 17 questions now, so I'm just going to keep flying through these. Brooks, I would like to do this question, send this question to you as well. So they were talking about, you talk a lot about working with the farmers, Brooks, and they were talking in this question, they're talking about changing farmers' mindsets. Their suggestion is, what about focusing on macros, example predators, and and is a true integrated pest management approach, would that also work to help change farmers' mindsets?
Yeah, first off, it's a Very good question, but I don't view it as changing farmers' mindsets. Farmers' mindsets is in the right place. They want to be productive. They want to protect their land. They want to do their crops. That mindset is perfect. Our mindsets needs to adapt to the farmers' mindsets, first of all. But to the question of integrated pest management, that's one tool in the toolbox. You need to look at the production system, make sure that what you're going to introduce is actually going to improve that production system, and then adopt practices, management practices to that production system that will actually solve for that problem that you identified. So yes, it is a tool that you can use, but it's not necessarily going to change anything.
Okay, great. Nathan, this question is to you. Where do you feel biochemicals fit into this discussion? Just another synthetic that is manufactured via fermentation, or should it be considered a biological without a variability in the field?
Yeah, and so that's a great discussion because we throw the term biological out there and it kind of encompasses a lot of different things, right? And so one of the ways we're working on trying to clarify is you have biocontrols, you have biostimulants, and you have nutrient and resource use and efficiency categories. Within each of those, you have living and non-living. So what this individual is describing there is potentially a non-living. It could be biocontrol, it could be biostimulant, could be nutrient use efficiency. So there are already products in those different categories that might be a fermentation product from a bacteria. It could be a killed microbe, could be a plant extract, could be something like that, that are considered biologicals, biostimulants, or nutrient use efficiencies that aren't necessarily a living microbe.
Great. And I think this next question, Carlos, I'm gonna position this one to you. Does classical biological control have a place in large industrial agriculture, or will the gap be filled with the next generation of active ingredients in combination with chemistry?
I think that the new wave of products in the bio side will be products that are able to be mixed with other chemical products, conventional ones, in order to reduce the residues of the fruits and vegetables mainly. I think that the new product will come from this kind of R&D together, different companies cooperating together, making us an open innovation hub to cooperate, finding how to mix, how to handle this kind of new products, these new active ingredients, in order to be able to increase the efficacy. This is one of the challenges that we are facing, to increase the efficacy, to reduce the doses is very important also, and also to find some new product easy to understand, easy to explain to a farmer level. So this will be the three mega drivers that will be controlling the development of new active ingredients and new products in the bio side.
All right, great. All right, so we are out of time. I'm afraid there's a lot of unanswered questions. So what we're going to do with those questions is we're going to email those to our panelists, and then we're going to post a blog with those answers along with a recording of this webinar. So I want to thank Nathan, Sara, Willian, Carlos, and Brooks all for joining. It was a great discussion today, and thank you all so much for joining us for this webinar. So we hope to see you next time, and I hope wherever you are in the world, you have a great rest of your day or evening.